This is Spiritual Mamas Podcast. We're a couple of mamas out here just trying to raise kids, make it through a workday, and navigate mental health, all while going through a spiritual awakening. And we thought we'd take you with us. So grab your favorite cozy drink and let's chat. Hello,
Hi,
I'm Aericka,
and I'm Kim.
and this is Spiritual Mamas Podcast. Welcome back.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
So, what's up? What's new? What's happening?
Not much is happening. I feel like I say that every time. It's not a bad thing.
True. Sometimes no news is good news.
Yes. Today is the 7th. The other day was my son's birthday. He turned 20.
Oh my good Lord.
Yeah,
I remember he was a little peanut.
I know. I make him confetti cake waffles every year
Nice.
for his birthday, and I wake him up with them.
Oh.
And this year, I think, is one of the first years that like people were home because it was on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Normally during the week, nobody's home. So everybody was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Relax, just let me be." But it was nice, and we celebrated, and we all went out and had fun, and I think things are just really good right now. So I'm enjoying it.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting into winter. It's getting cold, very cold.
Mhm.
But at least it's sunny-ish right now. Sunny? Yeah, it's sunny.
It is. I like that it's sunny. It's like, at least from inside, it's this illusion that it's like really nice outside.
Mm-hmm.
So it can make me remember that times will get warmer. But I know that when I checked the temperature this morning, it was like, gosh, I don't even remember exactly what it said. It's something like it's currently 16 degrees but feels like 3. And I was like,
That's not okay.
that's
Yeah.
frigid.
Do you have to actually go out with your dogs whenever you let them out together?
No, thankfully, because my yard is fenced.
Nice.
So I let them out the back. They do what they got to do and they come right back. My pit bull does not like the cold, so he will be very quick about it and come right back. My Rottweiler could be out all day, and I'm like, it's freezing, but he has a double coat, so he doesn't
Yep.
care.
Yeah, my dog, I have to go out with him because we do not have a fenced yard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that he runs away because he'll come back.
Yeah.
It's just that he likes to roam the neighborhood and go poop in other people's yards. So, so I do have to take him out, and he does not care, and he loves the snow, and he'll be out there all day. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
can we not?
Yeah.
And my daughter's dog, who lives with us as well, is a husky.
Mm-hmm. So
Who
he definitely doesn't care.
no, she could be out there all day, every day. She does not care.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Easy.
yeah.
You would think, I'm like, listen, I understand that you can like handle this. I have no coats.
Yeah.
Like I could put on a coat, but that's still not the same as like having all that fur. Don't make me stand outside with you. I don't want to do it.
But at least it's sunny, and we'll go with that. We're having gratitude for it being sunny. And,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And I can find other ways to stay warm inside. So
Yeah. I have a little space heater in my office.
mm-hmm. This is, I don't know if this is like too much, but I tend in the winter to layer up. So I'll wear stockings under my pants.
Mm.
I wear socks under that and then fluffy socks on top. So I am layered.
I tend to run on the hot side, so I don't need as much, but yeah.
No, I just like to be nice and cozy. I'd rather, and maybe this is just something about my DNA, but I would much rather be sweating than be cold. Like, if it's 90 degrees outside, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it all day, every day. When it's like 50 degrees outside, I'm like, I could be warmer. And now it's even way below that, so.
Yeah, I'm like a 65 and sunny with a breeze. Like that's where I need to be. Above or below? No,
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens, but here we are. So we're finding ways to be grateful for it and get through it and keep that energy, like we had talked about in that episode with about the winter solstice, keeping that energy high and getting through.
Absolutely. Yep. So, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to get into relationships and spirituality and what that can look like and what that means. And yeah, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experiences, which have been a little bit challenging. But as I was thinking about it, and I guess I'll just jump right in. One of the things that came to mind is like, we're always hearing this idea, whether we're talking about spirituality or not, that like if a relationship doesn't work out for some reason, whether it's romantic or friendship or otherwise, if a relationship doesn't work out for some reason, there's this thought that you must be better off without them. Like, you don't want somebody in your life that doesn't fully accept you, and so you're better off without them if that relationship isn't there. And that really bothers me. I think on a surface level, it's a really great perspective to start to lean into, but I don't think it takes into account that, like, in the context of a spiritual journey, just because someone in my life doesn't fully understand or agree with me doesn't mean that that person is less significant to me.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I don't want or need them in my life. So I think that is something that I've been grappling with throughout this, is like, yeah, I want to make room for the people who are on similar paths, who do understand, who are looking for growth in a spiritual way or in a similar way, but I don't necessarily want to eliminate everyone else from my life.
Right. And I also think, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you don't want people around you that aren't like on the same path, but at the same time, then that's kind of boring to have the exact same people around you.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so I think I mean, obviously if they're being mean to you or if they're being like hurtful to you, that's a different story. But like, if it's just a not understanding, then, how can you work through that?
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think one of the things that comes up often in this space is like, I have heard frequently from people who, I don't want to generalize and like put this in a box, but I'm going to use this example because it is personal to me. People who are religious, Christian and or Catholic, who think this is the only way. And if you don't think or feel this way, if you don't believe this way, then you're condemned or something's wrong. If I don't agree with that sentiment, then why would I use the same sentiment and say that, oh, well, because you don't agree with me, then you're wrong.
Right.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I know that a lot of my relationships have shifted, and not necessarily in a bad way, but maybe I'm just not interacting as much or as deeply as I was before or as I would like to be. And I know that I am responsible for that as much as other people are, because I know that they feel this way, because I know that they might condemn my beliefs or my journey exploring this and figuring out how I incorporate this in my life.
Is this a perception or a projection, or is it like they've said things to you?
It's a little bit of both. It's not that they've said things to me directly, like regarding me, but they have said things to me regarding other people. So I know that they believe this way. I don't know if they would shift that belief if they knew it was me feeling this way or doing these things. And when I say like feeling this way, so I'm going to give this example. You and I have talked about how we refer to spirit, universe, God, energy, whatever.
Source, yeah.
Yeah. And I will use any of those terms interchangeably, but there are people in my life who are religious and will only say God. Now, to me, when they say God, I think all of these things, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
To them, if I say spirit, if I say universe, if I say source, if I say anything, they immediately are like, that's wrong. That's not God. And you are wrong in thinking this way. So I think it's just been a little bit of a challenge to navigate some of those relationships because I don't want to lose the relationship and I'm willing to be open, but I don't know how open they're willing to be.
So, slightly interesting, the Pope recently put out a statement that said that we shouldn't, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but all the different religions, all the different things that people say, like you said, like spirit, source, universe, it's all relating to God or a higher power.
Yeah.
So why are we fighting? It's all the same thing. The Pope said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think especially as like a leader of a religion in that way, it's a pretty cool thing to clarify for people or to put out there and just to be more open. Unfortunately, the people that I am referring to specifically are not Catholic.
Right, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's a thought process.
It is. But like even within that, like we've talked before about how like my family, I have some very religious family members. I have some mostly religious family members. I have some family members who like believe in God and only God, but don't practice religion in any way. But across the board, even amongst them, they've all kind of looked at like Catholicism and been like, nope, that's the wrong way to practice religion. Like, seriously?
They still believe in God. Like,
yeah, no.
Still believe in
like,
Jesus.
when I was little, I used to go visit family out of state and do prayers at the end of the night before I went to bed. And one time I was doing prayers and I did the cross and my family member looked at me and was like, don't ever do that again.
Oh.
And I was like, why? And they explained that that's a Catholic thing and Catholics don't just worship God. They also believe in saints and Protestants don't. So you can't do that. And I'm like, that's wild.
So I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
And I heard that from a lot of people. They're like, well, you're Catholic, not Christian. And I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Christianity are people who believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
We believe in Jesus. We just also happen to believe that there are saints and there's, you know, the Holy Mother and there's these other people that and angels that can all act on our behalf.
Yeah.
We're not worshiping those other people, but they're like there to help us out. Yeah. I used to fight about that all the time to other people. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't understand how it can be so rigid, but it is what it is. So I think when it comes to like relationships in general and me personally on this spiritual journey, I'm trying to figure out how to be authentically me around those people so that I can maintain those relationships because it doesn't have to come to that. Like we're not talking about, and maybe for some people this wouldn't be that big of a deal depending on their beliefs, but it's not like we're talking about murder. Right. We're talking about our spiritual beliefs. You can have your spiritual beliefs. I don't want to disrupt that for you at all. And I love you wholeheartedly. That's what I want in return.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been thinking about in all of this and like trying to figure out how to deal with these relationships or how to approach these relationships is how to make myself a priority and keep myself a priority in that. Because I very much tend to, I don't want to say people please. I used to people please. I don't really do that much anymore, or at least I try not to. But I'm very empathetic and I will consider everybody else's responses, experiences, needs above my own.
Yeah. I struggle with, are they going to think I'm crazy? Or are they going to think I'm weird? Are they going to be like, what are you doing? Are they going to think less/differently than of me now that they know this is what I'm doing and this is how I, what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that a lot. It's getting better just because I've been putting it out there anyways
Mm-hmm.
and getting good responses.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still every time there's something new that I want to do or add something new to the practice, I'm like tentatively doing it and then just
Mm-hmm.
kind of quietly doing it.
Yeah.
And eventually kind of like getting it out there. Like I haven't, like my family has never seen me actually drumming. They've never seen me rattling. They've never seen me doing, you know, anything. I think they've seen me meditate randomly, but like not any of that other stuff because
Mm-hmm.
they've heard it because I can hear it when I'm doing my classes and stuff. I'm doing it in my room, but like they haven't seen me doing it. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I will say though that when I went to Arizona and I saw that saw the medicine wheel, I did, you know, kind of stand there with my hands on it, and I did do a little bit of a ceremony. And my husband just stood there and took pictures, and I thought that I was very conscious of the fact that he was standing there and like watching me.
Yeah.
So like I was like half eyeball out, but I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, he didn't say anything, so I was like, okay, just going out.
Do you feel that apprehension or like that concern, do you sense that comes up when it's not people that you have a relationship with?
Yeah, I'm less worried. I'm less
Okay.
worried of people thinking any of that
Yeah.
because it's kind of like they don't know me in any other context.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they saw me doing this, they
Mm-hmm.
would think this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they think it's kind of weird, fine. Like, they don't need to interact with me. But if it's like family and my husband, you know what I mean? Like, then I'm much, much, much more apprehensive.
Mm-hmm. Do you
Yeah.
have any concerns of those relationships that you have established already, like significantly changing? Or do you think that it's just like how they view you?
I do in the back of my mind have that concern.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's kind of been disproved so far.
Yeah.
So I'm apprehensively optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned that when I do actually start really doing the shamanic practicing and the shamanic healing, which is going to be coming soon, what that will look like for people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think, like for my husband especially, I don't think he'd ever not back me in some way. But like, I don't, it's like, I don't know what he would think. Like, whether, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's part of like the fear, like what's going to happen. And so I think you've taken this probably a step further than I have in sharing it with other people. And I know that we've kind of talked a little bit about that, but in very small ways, I think I've shared it initially in a joking manner with the people
Mm-hmm.
in my house. I was like, oh, what if we did this? Haha, that'd be so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And they've kind of picked it up like, hey, let's do it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
we did for the winter solstice. We wrote down the goals and burned one each day. And
Mm-hmm.
I brought it to my family and was like, hey, do you guys want to do this? They didn't make any comments. They didn't have any facial expressions. They didn't make me feel weird or off or different for doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't participate, but,
Oh.
they didn't like say anything. Like my son was like, oh, that sounds cool, but then just didn't do it.
Oh.
Which is fine. I have no problem with that. So in like small ways, I'll do things like that. We talked about like manifesting and bringing in what we want in different ways. And my boyfriend has kind of jumped on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for New Year's Eve, we were washing the floors and he was like, here, put some cinnamon in there and like
Yeah.
call in some abundance.
Yeah.
When he was like, oh, let's put the cinnamon in, I'm like, yeah. When I start praying over the mop water with the cinnamon in it, he's like, that's a little weird, but do you, I guess.
Do you? Yeah. He's like, oh, okay. That's where we're going with that. Awesome.
He's like, okay, if it's going to bring us abundance, sure. So there's like some hesitation there, but that's the extent that I've gone with it. Like they don't realize that I'm journaling every day, that I'm pulling cards every once in a while, that I'm trying to do like meditations regularly, that I'm trying to do affirmations regularly, that I'm trying to do all of these other things. Um, you know, I think they probably ignore me when I make moon water, but they're like, I didn't see that.
Like,
Um,
yeah, okay.
but I think if any of my other relationships, if any of the other people in my life knew that this stuff was happening, it would be a much bigger reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my kids and my husband are kind of used to me doing new little ventures all the time and
Mm-hmm.
new little quirks and weird things. It's like that's my new thing. There's really you said like, oh, mom's doing that thing again, or oh,
Mm-hmm.
mom's got a new hobby. So they're pretty used to that. So I think that's kind of what they're seeing
Yeah.
with this. But I also think they're also realizing that I'm pretty serious about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And where it really came to a head is when I had to do that overnight vision quest.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, I was kind of keeping everything to myself. They knew I was taking a class,
Yeah.
but like they didn't know what the class was. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to hide this, like,
Mm-hmm.
and explain this. So I had to jump in, and luckily it was well received. But and like my parents and my brothers and sisters are like way into this stuff, but my other family, like my extended family members, I really haven't talked to them about this sort of stuff, especially like kind of parts of my dad's side, like you said, are more like, so they're Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the Catholics that are like, well, Catholic is a Catholic,
Yeah.
like that's the only way. And so I can see where that might be a little less well received. I don't know though. Like I haven't really talked to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I think this part of like the challenge that comes up is, when we're doing something like this, and it means so much to me. It's so integral to how I view the world and how I want to show up in the world and,
Mhm.
my day to day for me. But it's not important for me that other people feel this way or do these things. I just don't want those relationships to change. So I'm not really sure how to approach that, or if I
Mhm.
should, or keep doing what I've been doing and kind of keep it to myself, and which is fine. I think like I'd have no problem never sharing it with other people, so long as they didn't judge me differently if
Mhm.
they found out.
Yeah. That's so hard. I don't know.
The other side of that, and the piece that I feel like I'm missing, is the spiritual connection.
Mhm.
I want to be able to have conversations with people about these things and be able to explore with others and grow with others
Mhm.
in the way that you do with friends, with family, with loved
Yeah.
ones, that I can't get there. So, and not that my family has to be the people that I do it with, but I need some sort of community.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that's part of the challenge, because I feel like every time you and I get together, whether it's for the podcast or otherwise, if we're having a conversation, I always leave that feeling like, all right, that was good. I
Mhm.
enjoyed that time. I
Yeah.
feel fulfilled or refreshed or whatever.
Right.
And I can get that to some extent with other people, but not completely, because there's this whole part of me that they're not seeing.
Yeah. Which I mean, well, I guess not the whole point, but a large part of the point of this type of spirituality and spirituality in general is that community and connection. And I feel like it's hard to grow if you don't have that connection. I mean, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
could definitely do your own practice,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it might, I don't know, because I haven't reached that. I mean, it might reach a point where it kind of just reaches a ceiling if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have anybody else to kind of share it with, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I imagine, at least for myself, that that's part of the reason why I've shifted some of these relationships. Like, not just that they might view me some type of way, or that they might choose to end the relationship, which I guess when I say it that way, they have that choice. So I should probably not take that from them. But I also want to continue to grow in my own spiritual journey. And I feel like maybe they're, not that they are holding me back, but that I hold myself back when I become the person I am when I'm with them.
Right.
When I'm hiding a piece of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably something that I should consider a little bit more, is like, I really should. Oh, no.
Live it. You can do it.
So sorry, I'm going to pivot just slightly.
Yep.
We did the goals, the 12 goals, write them all down, burn them every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The one that I had left on New Year's Day was take a risk. And what I was literally just about to say was I should take a risk.
There you go.
Okay.
Universe just talked to you right there.
I hear you. I see you. Thank you. Well, I guess I know what I need to do now.
Exactly. On that note, so I did bring it to my husband and my son, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I would really like if you guys did it with me. And here's your pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, okay. And they did it. They wrote it down.
Yeah.
And then we put it in little boxes. And every night, my husband was actually the one that was like, hey, we need to burn.
Yeah.
He was reminding me.
That's cool.
So it was fun. That was kind of fun. For me, interestingly enough, the one that was left was the first one I wrote down, and the one I knew was going to be the one left.
So you really just got to get on it.
You really got to get on. I got to figure out how to do it, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So my thoughts on this is I feel like this is a really good opportunity to work on that, like changing your trajectory, and which goes along with that vibration.
Yeah.
The raising the vibration, and by kind of like focusing on that life you want, that freedom, that like connection, that ability to be your authentic self, meditating on that, like on a daily basis, and having gratitude as if it's happening and it happened, really putting that practice into practice, to use it that way. And maybe this is like your intention.
Yeah.
You know, and this is how you make this life.
I like that. I think that's a really good idea, because if I'm focusing on that or calling that energy in on a regular basis, it makes it much more front and center, something that I can't really like avoid or step around. And I don't know, something about the way that you were just saying that really made me feel like if it's the most authentic connection with myself or with this practice, then it has to be okay, whatever the outcome is. Right.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, like I said earlier, it's not that I'd be better off without certain people in my life, but if those relationships change for whatever reason, it has to be the most authentic. It has to be the most genuine.
Yeah. For your highest self.
Yeah.
For your highest good. Yeah. There's a reason, you know?
Dang. Okay.
So we've been on this journey for what, maybe over a year now, but really honing in the last few months. And I feel like all that we've learned to this point is because we need to enact it, and it's so that you can do this.
That's like a gut punch.
Right?
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. And I think that, and I mean, you and I have had conversations outside of this where it's like, I step in my own way often and create my own barriers. And that could be for any number of reasons. Usually it's because I'm afraid of what might happen, or, and those like fears don't always come to fruition. So I should stop getting in my own way. But also, I really truly want to have some spiritual growth. I really truly want to be in this space more connected. And part of the reason why I want to be more connected is not just like for myself, to be more connected with myself, but to be more connected with my ancestors and these
Mm-hmm.
practices, and like to know my purpose and my history and my lineage better, and to share that,
Right.
to be able to share that. There's this like idea that goes around that, you know, sometimes a person comes along in a family and they are meant to like break generational curses or generational
Mm-hmm.
trauma, deal with it and process it, and, you know, move the family
Mm-hmm.
forward. And I don't know that I've ever thought of myself that way, but it is the role that I have taken on and the role that I have
Yeah.
been placed into. I'm the first person in my family to get an advanced degree. I
Mm-hmm.
am the first person in my family to bring mental health to the center. I
Right.
am the person in my family who a lot of people turn to, knowingly or not, for support, resources, understanding,
Mm-hmm.
processing, whatever, on so many different levels. Um, so maybe this is part of that process, like also being the first person in my family to reconnect this way and to bring these things forward so that other people can, whatever, agree, disagree, use it,
Mm-hmm.
don't, whatever.
Yeah, I have been waiting for you to just like unleash because I'm telling you, I think you're a super powerful being. And I think it's just kind of you. I see it. And I really want you to, I really want you to unleash. It's going to be powerful and you're going to be awesome and you're going to be amazing.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do appreciate you saying that. I have not felt that way. I have
Mm.
felt on this journey with you in particular
Mm.
that I am very grateful to be here with you, and that you are kind of like a person that can help push me.
Hmm.
But I have not felt like, oh, I have something to give here. I have felt more like the coattails.
Oh gosh, no, no.
But
Oh
not
my
in a
God.
bad way. Not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I like kind of like I'm holding on and like I love this ride.
I'm
Let's
dragging
go.
you with me.
Let's go. I love this. Maybe like a high fashion cape or something.
There you
Like
go. There
I
you
love
go.
it. Um yeah, so I appreciate hearing that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, dude, you're holding yourself back. You are a, like I said, you're powerful. You have, I could tell you so many gifts. I have a feeling I know what you are, and I think I've told you before.
Yeah.
And I just cannot wait for you to step into that.
Mhm.
Um, and like you said, I think I 100% agree with you as far as like breaking a generational curse or something. There's soul contracts, and maybe this was your soul contract, is that
Mhm.
you had to break a curse, you had to, or um, not necessarily a curse, but like something you're
Yeah. Like that.
made to change something big in your family.
Mhm.
And when you were talking, I just got like this idea of like you're the medicine woman
Mm.
of your family. You know, like the wise woman that everybody would go to, and you had all the knowledge and you had all the connection to spirit and you had all the connection to the earth, and that was your role.
Mhm.
And this is your role now.
Mhm.
So
I feel that deep down.
I'm getting
Like
huge goosebumps, by the way. Like,
my fingers have gone numb. I can't feel them anymore. But I do. I feel like that resonates so much, like deep down, and I feel like that's why I've been pushed in this direction so much, or pulled, or drawn to. I just don't know how to get there, but maybe I just need to get out of my own way to do that.
one and two, I think so. The reason I came into the shamanism is because I was looking for a teacher,
Yeah.
because I knew I needed to hone into whatever it is that I have, and I
Mm-hmm.
needed someone to show me which way to go and how to do that. Like I just got called to this person, the Beth, who is my teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I've kind of come into this way. And
Mm-hmm.
I found community, and I feel so much better weekly. We meet, you know what I mean? And I have that time and
Yeah.
I have that growth. You need to find what your teacher is, what your community is, because
Yeah.
yours is going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you're going to grow and how you're going to feel that community. Because if you can't get it from your family,
Mm-hmm.
you need to get it from somebody and something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you feel more powerful or feel more connected, feel more committed,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe that's just going to spill out into the rest of your world and the rest of your family, and they're just going to see it and just
Mm-hmm.
accept it.
I don't I don't disagree, and I think that just thinking about like the relationships in general and how I've experienced them, I recognize that there can be like genuinely spiritual relationships that can be a source of power to a person so that they can have better relationships otherwise, right? Not all of my relationships have to be about spirituality, but I can have, if I find the right people, that community, that spiritual community, spiritual relationships that can help me to develop better relationships outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it in my family.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, I think because of my groundedness
Mm-hmm.
and my authenticity. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I'm not 100%. Like, I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
just this work and the growth that I've had is spilling out into my family. So then they're feeling more of that positivity and that groundedness too. And then the connections are getting stronger. Like, I see it. Like, there's things that my husband's doing and saying that I don't know where they're coming from. Like, because there's stuff that like I have said in the past, or
Mm-hmm.
I've thought that I wanted him to do this, or I thought that I wanted this to happen in our relationship, and then it does
Mm-hmm.
without me saying anything.
Yeah.
So, and in my kids, things are just happening that I'm wanting and thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're happening.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, there's a level of connection there that, and I think that kind of just reinforces the connection that you don't have to see eye to eye. You don't have to verbalize. You don't have to, which is something that I think a lot of people want. I
mhm.
shouldn't have to say, I want XYZ. And not that having a deeper connection will automatically make that happen. But when you have all of these pieces in play and there is that spiritual connection and there is the relationship connection and there is, all of these things coming together, it can be easier for those things to come to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, just like the silliest thing.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to make my bed every day and I wanted my closet closed every
Mm-hmm.
day. Sounds silly, but it never was done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that to my husband. Can you, if you're get out of bed after I do, can you please, make the bed
Mm-hmm.
and close the cabinets, the dressers, whatever it is, closet. And in the past, that probably wouldn't have happened. Not out of him being like disrespectful, but just not something that's on his mind to
Mm-hmm.
happen because he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do it. Has not missed a day where that didn't happen. The bed is
Mm-hmm.
always made. Now, is it made pretty? No. But is it made? Yes. Are the closet doors closed? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still
Yeah.
can't get the socks in the dirty basket, but we talked about that. That's just a thing.
Yep.
But like, you know what I mean? It's in the past that never would have happened. And is it because of all of this? I don't know. But I just have to think that there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because little things like that keep happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's this, we've like talked before about like the idea of the placebo effect, and if it's a placebo, it's still happening. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's what this is. I think that you carry yourself differently. You have a different energy about you. You give that off, and the people around you, when they're ready and open for it, will receive it and be able to meet you where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the past that wasn't going to happen, but if your husband's more open to meeting you where you're at or growing with you in some way, then yeah, he's going to be more willing to do these things. And they're small things,
Mm-hmm.
making the bed, closing the closet doors, not that difficult to do, doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of effort, but can make a huge impact on how you feel.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I feel complete for the day.
If nothing else is done, that is done. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hear you. I
So,
do the same. I make my bed every morning, and I mean, I'm always the last one out of bed. Um, and so I do make my bed every morning, and it makes a huge difference in how I
hmm
approach my day and how I interact with the people around me.
it's so silly, but it's such a like thing. It's something about it being neat
Mm-hmm.
and collected that
Mm-hmm.
then makes me feel neat and collected.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just ready to approach whatever is coming next. But
Yeah.
I think with all of this, though, one of the things that's important to recognize or to identify is how you put up boundaries. I don't know if that's the right word that I want to use, but I'm going to use it for now. But how you use them for yourself in relationships. Do you know? Like, have you thought about how you use them in your relationships?
Like boundaries as far as in like what
Your
way?
spiritual practice.
Oh, like as in like giving it to other people or like having
So
people
for
ask? Yeah, like what I guess I don't know what you're asking.
yeah, I think what I'm thinking of is like how important this is for me and how I show up for myself in it. And so I have a practice that I do every morning, every weekday morning.
Mhm.
On the weekends, I don't as much because nobody else in my house is working on the weekends, so everybody's home. So in the weekdays,
Mhm.
it's much easier for me to do. And I don't know if that's something that I should be more strict about, like, oh, it's the weekend, I need to do this as well, or if that needs to shift, or if there's any other ways that you find that you're like keeping some lines around what your practice is.
Yeah. Yeah. Up until like December, which we're just going to pretend December didn't happen because
Yeah.
it's the holidays and all that crap. But it was very much so like I'm meditating and I'm doing my affirmations and that's happening. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of a non-negotiable. Having my classes, like I'm going to my class. Those kind of things are non-negotiables. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I feel like I could definitely be better. Like I should be journeying more.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where I'm just sitting on the couch at the end of the day watching TV. So I could definitely be saying to my husband, I'm going to go upstairs and journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go, do some stuff for my class type situation. So yeah, I think I could probably be much better
Mm-hmm.
at that. Um, yeah.
And I think it's an important thing to be able to like have some consistency and structure around. I kind of struggle with finding the balance between that because it's like, okay, like I said, in the mornings, Monday through Friday, I'm on it.
hmm
Saturday, Sunday, not so much. If there happens to be a moment during the day that I can get to my journaling and all that, all the stuff that I do, then I will. But
hmm
if there isn't, then there isn't. And I tend to prioritize time with my family. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm not going to do it because that's when everybody gathers together to watch TV or play a game or have a
hmm
conversation or eat a meal. So that's what's
Right.
happening. And on the weekends, that's when everybody's home
Right.
and together. So,
I think there's a couple of things that's a little different for me and my relationships with the family is that one, my husband travels all the time, so there's a
mm-hmm.
lot of time where it's just I have time to myself, so I don't really have to worry about taking time away from him.
Yeah.
And also we used to do races and train for running races and triathlons and marathons and stuff like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a non negotiable. At 9 o'clock, mom's on the treadmill, or, on Saturday morning, dad's out for his long run. So kind of like that was a non negotiable for that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if I took that approach this way, it would be received the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think there's a precedent in our family for that.
Yeah.
I just have to kind of switch it to this.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. We don't really have that. It's like we've always, and it's not even like, if somebody has plans and they're doing something, then that's fine. But we've always kind of just prioritized, like, we'll check in with each other first.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody's doing anything, then we're doing nothing together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, like, what that would look like if I were to start to make this like a 7-day-a-week thing instead of a 5-day-a-week thing.
And maybe on the weekends, it's that 10-minute before you get out of bed meditation and that 5-minute journal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a shorter practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it's something slightly different. And then maybe the card pull comes at night before bed, but
Mm-hmm.
so it looks slightly different, but it's still happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
And I mean, you and I talk often about like making things your own and being able to make it fit for your lifestyle. So it's the same idea there. I just haven't pushed it as much. And like I said, it's not that, if the opportunity arises, it's happening. But that usually looks like, oh, Mike has plans or somebody has plans, and so they're going off doing their own thing. So now I have time to do this, as opposed to I'm going to be the one doing this and they have time to do whatever they want to do.
yeah, yeah. The other thing too is like in my house, like when I'm in my office and the door's closed,
Mm-hmm.
that means that I'm doing something.
Yeah.
So I tend to not get bothered,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so generally.
Yeah. And the same here. When I'm in my office, I just don't go into my office because maybe that's part of it, because I think that if I was in my office on the weekends, they would be like, you're not working, what are you doing, like,
So
or
yeah, I mean my office is my little Zen room, and that has been like that was established when I set this up. Is
yeah.
this room was mine
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't any space in my house for
Mm-hmm.
just me. So that was very much talked about like that's mom's room.
Yeah.
Like, people
Yeah.
generally don't come in here and they know it's my little Zen room, and
Mm-hmm.
so I've kind of
Mm.
established that.
Some things to think about. I think maybe making some of these adjustments and taking like a purposeful step forward in
Mhm.
this practice for me and in these conversations will help to push my relationships, push them
Mhm.
forward, hopefully in a positive way. And if
Mhm.
not, I guess I'll address it when the time comes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I was your teacher and telling you to do something, actionable steps would be one is maybe make an active effort to find a teacher or a group,
Yeah.
and two, do um, the visualization slash meditation on what you want
Yeah.
your future to look, what you want your life to look like.
Yeah. Definitely. I think the connections, something very important that I'm looking for. And so I need to have that. And in both aspects, right? Like finding a teacher, finding a community, doing all of that. But also in the visualization work, I want my community, my family to be part of that,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's a minimal part, even if they don't really engage with the spiritual part.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have to push myself a little bit more.
Yeah. And I appreciate you asking me that question about like the boundaries, because I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I need to be a little better about that for sure. So as
Mm-hmm.
far as like making this a priority, because I do it kind of in a very small way, but to be more purposeful about some of the bigger things.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed. I didn't know where this topic was going to take us. I enjoyed the way that it went because it was kind of all over the place, but
Hmm.
I mean, the relationships are a big piece of it, but like how the practice is for us or what we're looking for and
Hmm.
how we connect, I think that's all really good stuff for us to like check in with every once in a while.
Yeah, I had actually thought about this that we should check in because so much has gone on in the last few months, and
Mm-hmm.
growth and change and learning and all that jazz. So,
Yeah, yeah. And we have some really exciting stuff coming up. So
yes, yes, yeah.
I, this will probably be this actually, you know what? Yesterday was Monday. Yesterday was my reset of like getting back into my daily practice. And I think this conversation is helping me to like visualize how can I continue to reset so that I'm ready for what we have coming up because I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And to some of that is just putting it back out there is that we're on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
at spiritual underscore mamas underscore AK. And we're on Facebook at Spiritual Mamas Podcast. And on those, we're going to be doing things to kind of help grow your spiritual practice and strengthen
Yeah.
your spiritual practice. A lot of things that we've learned, a lot of things that we do. So like Mondays are affirmations, and Wednesdays are the
Journal prompts.
journal prompts, which I'm super excited about, and the reset Fridays,
Mm.
and meditations on Sundays. So definitely follow those. They'll tell you what's up and where to go. And please follow us, share, like, comment. Let us know if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing any of these practices. If you have any questions about the practices, let us know.
Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.